Hi, this is Scott from PipelineFX. Here I'll show you Qube's dynamic allocation system that allows you to maximize the efficiency and control of your render farm. Qube's dynamic allocation built into the Maya, Max, and Exercise job types maximize throughput by minimizing the load time overhead. It will also automatically load balance the frames across the workers. Faster machines finishing first will get assigned more frames. So, let's see it in action. Let's bring up the Qube GUI and resubmit a job based on a previous submission. Here I have a simple Maya render job with 300 frames running on one worker. We can now see that there is one render process doing the work. What that process is doing is loading Maya, loading the scene file, and then rendering a frame. It will then inform the Qube supervisor when it completes that frame, and the supervisor will dispatch it another frame to render. With Maya still running and the scene file still loaded, it'll start rendering that frame. This allows the Qube worker machines to skip the subsequent startup time usually required by other render farm managers. However, with Qube we still do have the frame granularity to adjust what is assigned on a frame-by-frame basis, instead of having to rely on large chunks. The dynamic allocation allows you to granularly scale up and scale down your jobs, making sure you're running in the most efficient manner across all your resources. Let's look at the frame graph and see how long the frames are taking. We are rendering on one process right now, and we do have unutilized machines on the farm, so let's get them to work on this job as well. We'll bring up the modify dialog and increase the number of machines now from 1 to 4. Qube will now start assigning frames to those other 3 workers as well. This beats the more common chunking method that has to pre-allocate frames, like the first machine rendering frames 1 through 25, the second machine doing frames 26 through 50, and so on. Qube allows control over the individual frame assignment without the overhead of continually starting up the render and loading the scene file. So, this is a big bonus. See that the timeline now shows 4 machines working on the job. We can similarly dynamically reduce the number of workers rendering the scene as well. We'll bring up the modify dialog again and reduce it from 4 down to 2. Another benefit of this granular dynamic allocation of frames is error recovery. If a machine does crash or someone kicks a plug out of the wall, we only have to redo that one frame instead of the entire chunk of frames that machine is working on. So in conclusion, using dynamic allocation with Qube will ensure the fastest possible overall rendering throughput while providing full granular control over individual frames. Please contact PipelineFX, an authorized reseller, or Qube certified consultant near you for any questions or feedback you have about the Qube product.